They're not in the home with you anymore, so essentially you could do whatever you want. You're responsible for whatever you do. So you got to test it out. Do the things my parents say, were they true?
It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who was actually in the arena, whose face is marked by dust and sweat and blood.
From Men in the Arena, it's Equipping Men in 10. Our conviction is to call you into the arena of manhood, call you out of the faceless, nameless bleachers, and call you up to be the best version of you, because when a man gets it, everyone wins. Enjoy today's episode.
Men in the Arena Army, we salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. This is Equipping Men in 10. I'm Jim Ramos, and I'm here today with our guest and producer of the show, Dale Collver. How you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent.
I don't know, have you been a guest before, like before episode 2 or 3?
No, not since the very beginning. That was rough.
That was a long time ago. You can't find those. Those episodes have been gloriously pulled down. Anyway, but hey, I'm excited to have you on the show today, man. You are one of our summer blog writers, so you know it's a little exhausting writing a 1,000-word blog every week. So I'm taking 8 weeks of summer off from doing that. I've got a bunch of guys writing for me, board members and national team captains. You're one of those guys, and so I want to talk to you about your blog, and you're talking to us about a topic that I think we don't like to address, and it's parenting your children through the stupid years, how to navigate your adult children's bad decisions. And so, you know, we try to put out there, hey, we have these perfect lives, we have these perfect kids, look at our social media. I mean, I look on social media with all these guys doing men's stuff, and you think everything's perfect, but I know it's not because I know the guys, and I especially know it's not during the stupid years. And so we're going to talk about what those stupid years what we mean by stupid years, but how do we, you know, it's easy to love our kids when they're in the home, but when they leave the home and they're making decisions on their own, that's a whole nother ball game. In fact, John Eldridge, we had him on our podcast a couple years back, and he said it's more difficult to raise his adult children than it was to raise them while they're in the home. And so I think there's a lot to that. So we want to focus today on the raising your adult children and what that means. So before I got to read your bio, Dale, because you're a show guest. So this is a bio you sent me.
Make me look good.
I'm reading what you wrote, man. So Dale Collver's operations manager and podcast producer for Man in the Arena. He's also worked for me. He also worked with me for 8 years. He was the middle school pastor when I was the youth pastor, and we had a great run of ministry there. And he left and went to become a gold miner actually, you took over the ministry for about a year and a half, left ministry altogether, went and became a gold miner for about a year and a half, came back, and I hired you in 2015.
Yeah, when I was doing gold mining, I was also doing youth ministry over there.
Okay. When did I hire you? 15 or 16?
I think 15.
15. Okay,
or 16.
You've been working with me
It's forever.
For 7 years now?
Yeah.
7? Okay. So anyway, he lives in McMinnville with his beautiful wife, Heather. They've been married 26 years. They have 3 adult daughters and 1 adopted son who is now 8 years old. So welcome to the show, man.
Yeah.
That feels so weird. Hey, why don't you do this? Because we hear your voice on the show, but tell us about you. Let these guys, give them a 30,000-foot view of your life, your history, what makes you tick.
Yeah, so I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, mom and dad in the home. Senior skip day, my dad left. He moved.
Wait, say that again? Senior skip day?
On senior skip day, my dad left and went and moved to the coast. Him and my mom, he said, I can't live here anymore. I got to live on the ocean. So he moved to Coos Bay.
With your mom, or they divorced?
No, he left. He packed up the camp trailer and he went. And he was thinking that my mom, once I graduated, she was going to follow. That was his thought. But we were raised Seventh-day Adventist, and then my folks started going to Assemblies of God Church, and at the time they forced us to go.
Hold on, stop. I'm confused. So your dad left your mom on your senior year.
Yeah.
But then you just threw your mom and dad back into the picture. So they got divorced.
Yes, they did get
divorced.
And
then did they get remarried?
Later on.
So they remarried. Okay.
They did later on remarry after my dad had gotten remarried. Then they split up and then they got remarried he started dating my mom. My mom almost got remarried.
So your dad's been
to
through
somebody
4
else.
wedding ceremonies?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Three,
well,
four,
no, your
four,
mom
yeah.
twice. Yeah. So
So, anyways, so I've been to a few different churches, and I was very rebellious in those younger years. Partied a lot, but when I moved to McMinnville, I started a photography business here. I ended up falling in love with Jesus. He totally messed me up. So I started hanging out at the church more, and then Jim ultimately hired me, brought me on, and I moved my business home. So we've been raising 3 kids, and we've raised our kids while I was a youth pastor. Anytime we went to camps or anything like that, I took my kids with me. They got to hang out with Dad. They got the best of the camp because they got to do things and see things that the kids couldn't. But then when they got older, they became campers. So they got to experience all that stuff. They got to experience every missions trip. I mean, everything. We took them on trips. They reaped the benefits of Dad and Mom doing ministry.
well, and they had a great church experience.
They did.
They were at the church whenever the doors were open. They were there because they wanted to be.
Yeah. I'm going with Dad. They would leave
Yeah.
early with me.
Totally.
And so we did that. We did a lot of family trips. So we were pretty close. And
So that closeness carried into their. They're all young adults, right?
Right.
Hayley is how old? 25. How old is she now?
yes.
So one of the things you did to keep your family closer, and you actually have some kind of bonus kids also, and you've got the boyfriends that you've kind of brought in. But you did tell us about these Sunday family dinners.
Yeah, we have Sunday family dinners where everybody gets together at our house. We haven't had one in a few months, but
But you were doing them every.
we were doing them every single Sunday.
Okay, I want our listeners to understand that maybe you haven't done them for a couple months, but you were doing them every week for years.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was all my girls, and they would also bring over, if they had a boyfriend, they would come over, which my girls, they've really only had one boyfriend
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
And then there's the bonus daughter with her boyfriend. And so we packed the house, and we would always do highs and lows afterwards and just share what's going on in our lives and encourage one another and all that good stuff.
So there's one family dinner that you'll never forget, and you told me it was like a punch in the guts. You want to tell us about that family dinner?
Yeah, I'd love to. We're at our bonus daughter's house, and she lives probably about 20, 30 miles away now, and or at the time. And so we went to her house, and we were getting ready to leave. We're all just, it's a different place, different time. You're thinking, all right, we're out of here. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. And they said, wait. And everybody knew what was coming, and except for Mom and I. And they said, we got to share highs and lows. And we were like, all right, let's get this done so we can get out of here. We got to get home. Mm-hmm. And so we went around the room, and the last one was our oldest daughter. And she shared that a person at work had asked her out to be her girlfriend. And she said yes, and she's so happy. And her girlfriend would have been like, this was a female asking her out. And we literally, I had every eyeball in the room staring at Dad. Mm-hmm. What is Dad going to do? What is Dad going to say? Mm-hmm. How is he going to react? Mm-hmm. And I've learned in doing youth ministry for so many years, I've been told everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And working with men, I've had everything told to me that you can imagine. And I had my pastor face on, and I did not react. And I just exhibited love. Mm-hmm. And inside, I'm dying. Mm-hmm. And we got in the car, and we started praying for our daughter. And so, I mean, what can you do? So, and my wife had known in advance that something wasn't right. God speaks to women sometimes so clearly.
Yeah.
She knew something was coming. She saw a vision of the enemy trying to take her and destroy her.
I actually remembered that. I remember that. That was months before.
Yeah, and that day that she told us that, my wife saw this dark shadow come out and grab our daughter and pull her and take her and sneered at my wife. And so we just see that that was an attack from the enemy, but we have to overcome and be Christ in this.
And we've talked about this topic in our Ask Me Anything series. So if guys want to go back and listen to that, where we address if you have a child has same-sex attraction, but we're not going to go there because this episode's not about that. This episode has to do with any one of our children when they do stupid things. Like when my oldest son came home one day and said, "Dad, congratulations, you have a 9-month-old daughter." He had found out he had fathered this child that he didn't know about, and that was loving your kids through the stupid years, right?
Right.
Over and over again, we see these things. So your story happens to be a daughter who fell in love with another female, and your daughter to this day does not claim to be a lesbian. She likes men and women, but she happened to fall in love with this woman.
I think she likes love and attention.
Yeah, well,
and affirmation.
Anyway, well, we all do, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this relationship blossoms, so to speak, into a marriage.
Yeah. So we were told that there was a wedding coming up, and we were just like, "Are you sure? I mean, this is so quickly, and like, you know, there's a age gap, and
I mean, that's another whole stupid factor, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge age gap. There's same sex, and they're going to get married like almost immediately.
not having jobs, not having a place of your own,
Yeah.
you know, just all kinds of stuff that as a parent, I mean, if this was a dude, you'd still be like, I don't think this is a good idea.
No, this is just a dumb idea.
Yeah. So yes, there was we're told about a wedding, and we were on a vacation trip, and I got a phone call from her, and she was asked. I knew this was going to come.
Yeah, yeah.
And the question was, "Hey, Dad, so you know, wedding's coming up. You know, since I was a little girl, I've been dreaming of this time." And I'm like, "Yeah, me too." Like when
you were a Christian through the whole Stephen Curtis Chapman Butterfly Kisses songs and envisioning.
Actually, I was not, but I did shoot a lot of weddings that I heard that song.
About, so
and
you're
like,
envisioning,
yeah,
dancing with your daughters on their.
When I found out my
dance.
wife was pregnant, I'm listening to that song in my mini Toyota truck, lowered, and I'm driving to work, and I'm crying because I'm thinking there's going to come a day I'm going to walk my daughter down the aisle. Right?
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So she asked me, "Hey, Dad, can you, will you dance? I want to do the father-daughter dance with me, and will you walk me down the aisle?" And I said, "You know what, honey, I'm gonna have to pray about this. You know, I love you more than anything in this world, and I'm always here for you. I want you to know that. But let me pray about this." So I did. I dived in, reading, praying. I had Christians, tell me, "You're not going to be a piece of crap, father. You're walking your daughter down the aisle." I had many people telling me, "You are going to do this, and you know you're going to do the right thing." I read the Bible. I prayed. I got godly counsel, and then ultimately it's up to me as the leader of my family. And I came to the conclusion that I cannot hand my mantle of leadership over to a female to lead my daughter and to lead her closer to Jesus. And so I had to tell her, I said, "Honey, I love you. I want you to hear me on this. I love you more than anything. I cannot walk you down the aisle and hand you over to a female."
This is where I think you stayed true to the Bible, and these voices that were telling you you're going to do the right thing, don't be a piece of crap, are ignorant Christians who don't know the Bible. And there's a lot of them out there. Don't know the Bible, and they don't understand the significance of marriage and passing this mantle over. And what you're saying is, in Scripture, the father is handing this mantle of leadership over, and you're not going to do it. Yeah. You're not going to acknowledge that. So that's a hard thing. I remember you wrestled with that.
Yeah.
And so, but you did do something as a compromise.
Yeah. And I said, "But you know what? I'd dance with you anytime, and I'd be honored to dance with you." Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Okay, cool. I'm excited about that, and I understand, Dad." And so we had a good conversation. The wedding day came, and getting ready to do the dance, and I'm just kind of a mess, like, oh, here it comes. I've been waiting for this day to be over, essentially.
Oh, totally.
And so my wife said, "Hey, wait, before you go over there to dance with her, when the song gets to the end, you're going to invite her wife over, and you're going to dance with her as well, with the two of you, or the three of you total." And I looked at her and I said, "Nope, not doing it." And she said, "You're going to do it. You're going to love your daughter, and you're going to love her because she doesn't have a daddy." And I said, "You can shut up right now, and I'm walking away, and I'm not listening to you."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Listen to your heart."
Oh, man.
And so I walked away, and I looked at her and said, "Nope, not doing it."
Yeah.
So we get to the end of the song, and I look over, and she's sitting there by herself looking down, just kind of sad and everything. And I said, hey, why don't you call her over here? And she was like, why? I go, just call her over here.
Before I change my mind.
Yeah, and so she waved her over, and I put my arm around both of them, and I started dancing with them, and she started, tear came down her eye, and she goes, it's like my dad is here. And I realized that here is a broken individual.
Totally.
Who just needs loved.
Yeah.
And so I dance with them. They come over quite a bit. We've actually paid them to do some yard work stuff for us, and we hang out with them. She did some other stupid things with a car deal, and I bailed her out, and I went to the junkyard, and I got parts, and I fixed her car. You know, there was another situation that was bad, and she got to stay with us for a little while. And so, you know,
the writing's already on the wall.
I love you, but I don't agree with you.
That's the key phrase, right? And that's the key phrase when our kids, no matter what it is, are doing stupid things.
Right.
And this is what I wish more Christian men would understand. You can love and not agree with. You can love and stay true to the Bible. And so, what is it? So when you in your blog you write about this thing called the stupid years. Can you define that for us?
Yeah, I mean, I went through them as well. It's like once your parents, they're not in the home with you anymore. So essentially, you could do whatever you want. You're responsible for whatever you do. Mm-hmm. So you got to test it out. Do the things my parents say, were they true? Is it really going to hurt me? So you do a lot of dumb stuff. And so we sit back and you're like, oh my gosh, are you really doing that right now? You really think that's a good idea? But you can't do anything about it. You can't. I mean, you can say all you want. My wife will. She will lecture and all that stuff. But I'm like, those words are falling on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Unless they say, I want your advice in this situation.
So that's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing you say now is, when our kids are in the stupid years, they're actively, consciously rebelling against what we've taught them. They aren't asking us for advice, so we probably shouldn't give it, but we should wait until they do ask for advice, or wait for those moments where we can help coach them and they want it. They are willing to receive it.
When I hear the complaining, I literally heard this. I don't know what I did wrong. I feel like God is punishing me, but I don't know what I did wrong. And I say, so is this a question? Are you asking me to impart what I think, or are you just making a statement? And wait on that, because I know.
Oh, absolutely.
I know why.
I don't know why I got thrown in jail for drunken driving. I think God is mad at me. Well, no, you're just an idiot right now. You're being an idiot.
You were drinking and driving.
You were drinking and driving.
Not that happened to any of mine, but
mine either. But I'm just saying,
in general,
this is something that I've seen happen many times. So you, in your blog, you said this, Dale. You said, "Dads, we have a responsibility to raise our children in the knowledge of the Lord. It is up to you to teach them. Then, when they grow up and move out, our world changes. We are more like advisors. When we are invited in, we can give wisdom. If we lecture them, they will not receive it. Pray for them, engage with them, and most of all, love them." So what does it mean? What does it look like for a father, to be engaged with his adult children? I mean, what would you say? Yeah, let's just stop there. What would you say to what does it look like to be engaged with your adult children?
Well, still having those dinners where you have your home open to do stuff, like, coming over Sunday afternoon. We're gonna be doing this thing. You're all invited. When I book times for us to take the RV and go camping, you can bring a tent and throw it on the site too. So my wife will say, "Hey kids, we're going camping. If you want to join us, we're going to be here. We'd love to hang out with you." Mm-hmm. There's a lot to do. So inviting them into your world and allowing them to choose whether they're going to do it or not. I think we did a podcast with one of our, with Mike Goings, and he talked about having things available to do with your kids, and if they come, they come. Great. If they can't, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. I understand life is busy. Mm-hmm. So we just serve it up. This is what we got going, and I'd love to hang out with you. You're doing the same thing with your boys with shooting.
We do that with shooting, cutting up meat. hunting.
Yeah.
And we're doing that. What we're learning, though, is we need to do stuff like that includes their significant others. So how do we pull, like we did a big family 4th of July thing. On Father's Day, we did a trap shooting competition. What are some things we can do? My stepfather, and I didn't realize the genius of this back then, but he had every Christmas Eve, we had a golf tournament. The guys all had golf tournament. We did a golf tournament. None of us knew how to golf.
Right. Well, I see
and it didn't matter.
The difference between that and what others might say, well, my kids never come and see me or anything. Well, are you just like, you got the curtains drawn, the house is dark, you're just sitting on the couch and doing nothing? Or are you going to try to engage with them? Like, be creative.
And listen to what they're saying. My kids are saying to me recently, Dad, it's always, I love to barbecue. I just bought a $5,000 tow behind Santa Maria style barbecue pit. The grill is 83 inches long by 40.
But you didn't pay $5,000 for it.
I paid $1,000 for it. I bought it for a gun. I sold a gun and bought it.
Yeah.
This thing is glorious. But and nobody barbecues this way in Oregon. So it's a really unique way of barbecuing. But my kids that's what they've lived with. And so they're saying, Dad, we have these barbecues at your house. It's like the same thing every time. And I realize my kids are getting bored with just coming up because they've got to commute. They've got to drive an hour to get to me now.
Exactly.
So now I need to get up my game a little bit. What can I do to pull them up? And like one of the things, we have a second house that's down by one of the best whitewater rafting places in the state. Have a whitewater. Hey guys, we're going to go whitewater rafting. If you guys show up, we're going to pay for it. And try to find ways to pull them in, not because we want to enable them by paying for this thing. It's not about that. Essentially, we're saying your presence is so important. We're going to buy the shotgun shells. We're going to buy the raft spot on the raft. We're going to go buy the green fees. We're going to go buy the campsite fee. We're going to buy that because you're worth that to us.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. And so even during the stupid years.
Yeah.
Or especially.
Yeah. And I think they'll come out on the other end at some point. And I did. My dad, I was partying all the time. Even when I was in the community as a leader in our community, I got kegs of beer donated, and I partied a lot. And so when I changed and I came to Christ, people are like, who is this guy? But it took a while, and now my dad looks back on, man, I prayed for years for you, and I'm like, yeah.
Now I'm praying for you, Pops.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
He's doing good.
No, my dad's in my small group. And
I know, I'm
it's been
just
awesome.
teasing. But it does, our roles do change, right?
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody going through the stupid years. It could be your parent. It could be your best friend. It could be your wife. It could be a lot of things. So you had a friend tell you one time that you are the closest thing to Jesus your kids will ever see. So what does that look like to you? When that statement, you are the closest thing to Jesus that your kids will ever see. Can you explain that in the context of being your kids when they're being stupid?
Yeah,
And hold on, let me say something here because I know I'm going to get somebody. Our following, everything I say gets kind of
misconstrued,
deconstructed, and misconstrued. So I got to be, which is good. It's good. So what I mean by stupid, I'm not saying your kids are stupid. I'm saying when they make stupid choices. So when we say loving your kids through the stupid years, that doesn't mean that from 18 to 25 they just become stupid. We just are saying this season where they're growing and understanding what it looks like to be independent.
Right.
They do a lot of stupid things in that process,
and they're
just
trying
like
to
you
figure
did,
it out.
and just like I did.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to figure it out. And so during that season, we can either push them away from God or pull them in a weird way, pull them closer.
Right.
Even though they're living poorly. So can you unpack what that means to be Jesus to your kids during the stupid years?
Yeah, I think one of the main things is that you never stop praying for them, and let them know it, that you're praying for them.
Yep.
And if that even means, I think it's even bolder and better if you stop, and my wife is so good at this, pray for them while they're there before they leave. If they're going through conflict, don't tell them you'll be praying for them. Pray for them. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge one. Share what God's been speaking to you in the Bible. Just be an example. We did this in our meeting last night with the men in the arena, being a teacher, our gathering that we do here locally, talking about being a teacher. And so that living that example of being Christ-like, so even tempered and just being kind and caring. And you know those people in your life that you see, you're like, man, they are so calm and caring, and I just want to be around that person. Well, be that person to your kids. And how would Jesus respond to them? Would he be whipping them and flipping tables on them, or would he be loving them and saying, hey, go and sin no more, and try to help them and walk them through that? And so...
Yeah, I had a pastor one time tell me something very good. He said, don't react to other people's reactions.
Right.
And so when somebody does something stupid, don't react stupidly to that. But think about that, pray about that. I know that when James came to my house and said, congratulations, he tried to spin it, right?
Right.
Congratulations. He was a campaign manager.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He was okay, congratulations,
Hold
Dad.
on, back it up here.
Congratulations, Dad, you're a grandpa. And I said, hey, listen, I need you to go because you just hit me with a ton of bricks. And let me process this, and I'll call you back. And so I did. So I didn't react, but everything in me wanted to react. But
yeah,
say,
I got the other end of that when you called me. And I got to feel what was in your heart.
Yeah. So it's brutal. And so I got that from same thing with you with your situation. So this is important. So because how we respond to our adult children when they do stupid things is going to impact our relationship with them down the road.
Yeah. Are you going to react and freak out on them? Or
this could be 20 years down the road.
Are you going to push them away? You can't come here anymore?
But it's not saying I agree with you. It's saying the relationship with you is more important.
You pull them in closer.
It's important. Yeah, you pull them in closer. So anyway, well, this is really good stuff. Guys, make sure you this will come out in late July. The blog, so make sure you read that. We call the blog our equipping blast. It has our podcast links. It has a video, an equipping video. It has a lot of cool things. And if you don't get that, you can go to our website and you can subscribe to that. Also, head on over to the website, pick up a copy of my book. Tell them it's free. Tell them what great fathers tell their sons and daughters. And then also join the program. Dale alluded to the team he leads, which is shutting down for the summer. They're going to kick it up again in the fall. But we're going to have a lot of virtual teams kicking up, guys, in the fall. Make sure you join that program button. We will get you connected. And so until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty, grind it out, and be a man.
You've been listening to the Men in the Arena podcast. If you hunger to be your best version, then join thousands of men from around the world in our Men in the Arena forum on Facebook. This is the best place to have open discussions around the topic of biblical manhood. Make sure to explore our website at meninthearena.org, sign up for the weekly equipping blast, and take advantage of our many free resources designed to help you become your best version of a man. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. Remember, when a man gets it, everyone wins.